Have you ever felt like life hits you with challenges that seem impossible to overcome? Have you ever been overwhelmed by a sense of hopelessness? It's in those moments that we most need to find strength within ourselves. What if I told you there's a way to not just endure those blows, but to embrace them and transform them into opportunities for growth? In this video, I will guide you through the 10 most powerful Stoic lessons you can apply during the toughest times in life. These aren't magical solutions, but practical teachings that have helped thousands find strength and serenity amidst the storm. These lessons, rooted in the philosophy of Amor Fati, will enable you to transform challenges into opportunities and live with greater resilience and purpose. Are you ready to discover how to face adversity with wisdom and calm? Let's get started. 1. Embrace your fate. Have you ever felt trapped in a situation that seems impossible to escape? Those moments when everything you planned falls apart and despair washes over you. It's like swimming against an insurmountable current. But what if you stopped fighting against that current and let it carry you? Embracing your fate means accepting that every blow, every fall, is part of a larger journey. It's like when the wave pulls you under. If you go with it, you realize it can help you stay afloat. But how do we learn to go with the flow? By following the Stoic teaching of Amor Fati, of course. You might be wondering, what is the essence of Amor Fati? Seneca summed it up well when he said, "Fate guides those who accept it and drags those who resist." When we flow with what life presents, we find strength. But when we resist, we get trapped in frustration. It's not just about accepting what happens in life. It's about loving every experience, even the most difficult ones. Stoics taught that life isn't made up of pleasant moments alone. Challenges and adversities are an integral part of our path. For them, resisting the inevitable meant missing the chance to learn and grow. By embracing fate, Stoics turned blows into the strength that propelled them to improve. Instead of complaining or resisting, they viewed each difficulty as a lesson. Psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett explains that our interpretation of events shapes our emotions. If we tell ourselves that a failure is the end, that's how we'll feel. But if we view it as a lesson, our emotions shift. It's not just about mental strength, it's also about having people who help you reinterpret those tough moments. A support network can be key to facing challenges with a Stoic mindset. Imagine you've lost your job. At first you feel devastated. Everything you planned, the goals you set, seems to crumble before your eyes. Fear and frustration overwhelm you, and you can't stop thinking, what am I going to do now? You feel as if life has turned its back on you, that you have no control, and each passing day drowns you a little more in anxiety. You cling to resentment, resisting the acceptance of what has happened, and that consumes you. But if you embrace your fate, you start to see this ending as, in fact, the beginning of something new. Perhaps it's the opportunity to reinvent yourself, to explore paths you had always postponed. You free yourself from the burden of what if, and begin to see the situation from a new perspective, as a lesson that will help you become more resilient. How can you start applying this idea in your life? First, make sure to surround yourself with people who support you in finding the light amid the darkness. The people around you greatly impact how you face difficulties. Seek friends or family who help you view challenges as opportunities instead of sinking further into despair. They can offer a perspective you might not see in tough times, and sometimes you just need someone to remind you that there's always something good to discover. Additionally, practice active acceptance. Stop resisting what you can't change and start recognizing the value in every situation. Every time you face a problem, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Accepting what happens doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing the energy you waste in resistance to focus on what you can truly control. Remember, when life hits you, don't resist it. Go with the flow, because it's there that you will find the true strength to overcome the toughest moments. 2. Accept without giving up. Surely you've experienced those tough situations where the thought comes to mind, why is this happening to me? It's in those moments that frustration and resistance take hold. We fight against the inevitable, as if we could change the wind by pushing it with our hands. But is this what a Stoic would do? They taught us something very different. Accepting what we cannot change isn't giving up. It's freeing ourselves. Acceptance doesn't mean drifting along without care. By accepting what happens around us, we stop wasting energy fighting the inevitable and start focusing on what we can control. Epictetus said, "It is not within your power to change events, but it is within your power to change how you respond to them." Acceptance isn't passivity. It's the key to acting with clarity of mind. Instead of getting stuck in "why me?" Stoics sought ways to learn from each situation and move forward with greater strength. Terry Crews, actor and former American football player, is an excellent example of someone who didn't give up and embraced his fate. Crews grew up in an abusive home, which deeply affected his self-esteem, and he faced financial struggles after leaving football. In his early acting career, he was rejected at multiple auditions and struggled for years to find stability. Do you think he threw in the towel? Absolutely not. He accepted that these difficult moments were part of his journey. Crews openly discusses how accepting adversity allowed him to focus on what he could control, his effort and attitude. From that acceptance, he built his career from scratch, viewing each obstacle as an opportunity to grow. Now imagine it's the year 80, and you encounter Epictetus in a Roman tavern. He's about to head to an important philosophical meeting, but oops, his carriage breaks down. Instead of cursing his bad luck or blaming the gods, Epictetus simply shrugs, takes a sip of his drink and wonders, well, what can I learn from this? Perhaps he uses the moment to reflect on his next teaching or engage in a deep conversation with other travelers. That was him, always seeing every setback as an opportunity for growth. What do you think you would do in his place? Would you get angry, or would you seize the moment for something more positive? How can we bring this lesson into our daily lives? First, instead of resisting problems, we must accept them as they are. This doesn't mean we have to agree with what happens. However, by accepting reality, we free our minds to find solutions. Second, remember that every challenge is temporary. When we accept that difficult moments will pass, it's easier to face them with serenity. And third, practice daily reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, how did I react to the problems? What could I have done better? This simple practice will help you continuously improve how you handle difficulties. So, when you find yourself facing those moments when everything seems to go wrong, remember that accepting is not synonymous with giving up. On the contrary, it's the tool that will allow you to move forward with greater clarity and strength. This Stoic lesson will not only help you endure the toughest times, but will also prepare you to emerge from them wiser and more resilient. Before we dive into the next lesson, if you find value in this content, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment sharing the tough moments in your life where you think you could apply these teachings, or just type Stoic at heart to join the community. Together, we'll turn this space into a place for shared growth. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on more inspiring content. Your support means the world and helps keep this message going. 3. Turn failures into triumphs. We've all felt at some point that failure crushes us, like a massive rock falling on top of us, leaving us too weak to go on. It's a natural reaction, isn't it? That feeling of everything collapsing and having no way out. But we can actually turn that rock, that obstacle, into the foundation for building something stronger. Stoics viewed failures as disguised opportunities. How? Instead of sinking into despair, they analyzed each situation to find a lesson that would help them emerge stronger. Marcus Aurelius clearly stated, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Each mistake, each setback, was an opportunity to hone their skills and train their minds. They focused solely on what they could control, their attitude and their actions. A study by psychologist Adam Grant explains that individuals who learn to see their mistakes as starting points are more likely to recover quickly and come out stronger. Grant points out that it's not failure that defines us, but how we choose to interpret it. Like the Stoics, he recommends using every fall as an opportunity to analyze what worked and what didn't. Then, we should apply those lessons practically. By doing so, we turn the toughest moments into turning points. Do you know the story of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx? She didn't have it easy. Before becoming the billionaire we know today, Blakely failed in her attempt to become a lawyer after repeatedly failing the admission exam. Initially, this took a toll on her. However, over time, she accepted that path wasn't for her and decided to create a business that would change how women wear underwear. How did she achieve this? Thanks to her father, who taught her to celebrate failure. She learned to view every mistake as a lesson. Thus, she was able to face the initial rejections in her business with a positive attitude. What was the outcome? Her company became a global success. So, how can you start turning your failures into triumphs? First, when you fail, take a moment to reflect on what happened. Don't react immediately with frustration. Grab a piece of paper and write down exactly what went wrong and why you think it happened. Then, ask yourself, what can I learn from this mistake? Writing things down will help you see the problem from a different perspective, more objectively, and identify opportunities for improvement. Make this a habit every time you encounter an obstacle. Second, don't punish yourself for failing. We all fail, and that doesn't define you. Instead of mentally berating yourself, give yourself a small reward for trying something new, even if it didn't go well. This can be as simple as taking a break, talking to a trusted friend, or giving yourself time to do something you enjoy. The key is to recognize that each failed attempt is a sign that you're making progress, and that progress deserves to be valued. Third, move forward with that lesson in mind. Once you've identified what you can learn from that failure, take a concrete action to apply that lesson the next time you try. It might involve adjusting your approach, preparing better, or completely changing your strategy. The important thing is not to get stuck in what went wrong, but to advance with that experience. Set a small action plan to improve next time, and commit to moving forward. No matter how many times you fall, what truly defines your success is how you get back up and what you do afterward. If you can view your failures as a platform from which to propel yourself, there won't be any obstacle that can stop you. You have the power to transform each mistake into a victory. So the next time you face a stumble, remember, it's not the end. It's just the beginning of something great. 4. Master your career challenges. Work can be a source of satisfaction, but also of frustration. How many times have you felt that work problems are piling up with no solution in sight? From conflicts with coworkers to projects that stall, difficulties at work can quickly throw us off balance. However, learning to see these challenges as opportunities will help you overcome even the toughest moments in life. For the Stoics, overcoming workplace issues wasn't about magic, but about mindset. Marcus Aurelius, while leading the Roman Empire, faced decisions and pressures far greater than ours. Yet he said, "Life is neither good nor bad, but simply a place for good and evil." What does this mean? It means that the seemingly insurmountable workplace situations aren't the real problem. It's our reaction to them that affects us. The Stoics practiced the skill of separating what they could control from what they couldn't. They always focused on their attitude toward difficulties, rather than allowing themselves to be overwhelmed by them. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, also adopted this Stoic mentality. His life has been marked by personal and professional obstacles. He grew up in poverty, facing significant economic hardships that impacted him from a young age. When he decided to pursue his vision of transforming Starbucks into more than just a coffee shop, he encountered rejection after rejection from investors who didn't believe in his idea. Can you imagine how frustrating that must have been? However, instead of giving up, Schultz embraced the mindset that every no was just an opportunity to refine his approach and improve his pitch. He accepted the obstacles and turned them into the driving force behind his success, using challenges as a catalyst for innovation. Ultimately, his perseverance led to Starbucks becoming a global giant, demonstrating that the key to overcoming challenges isn't to avoid them, but to face them with clarity and focus, just as the Stoics always advised. Let me share something personal. Some time ago, I embarked on a project that I had put a lot of hope and effort into. I fully trusted a close person to manage an important part of the business. However, due to poor decisions, that person nearly led me to bankruptcy. The stress and feeling of betrayal were enormous. I could have succumbed to frustration and given up, but I decided to apply the Stoic principles that had helped me before. I accepted the situation, no matter how painful it was. I focused on what was within my control, reorganizing the project, taking charge of decisions, and learning from that significant mistake. It was one of the toughest experiences I've faced, but it also taught me to never rely blindly on someone else and to be more resilient. This process not only saved my business, but also helped me grow personally. If you're wondering how to apply this in your life, here are 2 steps to make it easier. First, when facing a workplace challenge, identify what you can and cannot control. Ask yourself, what can I change and what do I need to accept? Focusing on what you can control will enable you to make more effective decisions. Second, don't get stuck in the problem. Take action. Eliminate the temptation to postpone solutions. Create a plan and move forward with small daily actions. Remember, even the smallest steps bring you closer to resolving the challenge. Keep in mind, obstacles aren't barriers. They're the training ground that strengthens us for what's to come. By mastering workplace challenges with a Stoic mindset, you'll see how you can overcome the toughest moments and emerge stronger. 5. Break free from stress. Stress is like a rope that binds us, tightening with every attempt to break free. The more we try to liberate ourselves, the tighter it pulls. It suffocates us, robbing us of peace and mental clarity. It's a burden we carry every day, at work, at home, in our thoughts. It's simply exhausting, isn't it? Picture this. You have one of those days when everything starts to go wrong. You wake up late, rush to the station, and just as you arrive, you see the train pulling away. Frustration takes over, and you begin to think of all the consequences of being late to work. Stress starts to build up. You feel powerless, and it seems the day is destined for disaster. Can you imagine Epictetus dealing with a situation like this? He might say something like, "Stress? I've been a slave, lived with one foot in adversity. What is missing a train compared to that?" For Epictetus, stress was just another test among the many life throws at us. His secret was not allowing what he couldn't control to affect him. As he himself said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinion of them." If we change the way we view what stresses us, we can release that internal tension. Stoics practiced emotional control by accepting what they couldn't change and focusing on what was under their control. Marcos Vasquez, in his podcast, discusses how stress isn't necessarily the enemy. In fact, it can become a tool for personal growth as long as we learn to view it from a different perspective. What is that perspective? We can see it as a signal that we need to adjust our expectations or change something in our lives. Thus, it becomes an opportunity for improvement. What keys does Vasquez offer us for managing stress? He emphasizes that regular exercise, proper rest, and maintaining a tribe or support network are essential for reducing the negative effects of stress. Now, my friend, I ask you to reflect. Are you using that stress to grow, or is it consuming you? If your answer is that it's consuming you, it's time to take action. First, start your day with a simple meditation. Dedicate a few minutes each morning to meditate before the day begins. This Stoic practice will help center your mind, anticipate potential challenges, and prepare a calmer response. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and visualize the day ahead. By practicing this meditation, you'll be better equipped to face stress from the moment your day starts. Second, connect with nature. The Stoics believed in harmony with nature, and being in contact with it can be a powerful stress reliever. Take a walk outdoors, in a park or anywhere with greenery. As you walk, breathe deeply and focus your senses on your surroundings. The sounds, the smells, the feel of the air. This simple exercise will help clear your mind and reduce anxiety. Third, practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean you shouldn't feel, but rather that you shouldn't let negative emotions drag you down. When something stresses you, take a moment to ask yourself, is this stress helping or worsening the situation? By distancing yourself from the emotion, you'll be able to manage it more rationally. Whenever you feel an intense emotional reaction, breathe and repeat this exercise. Over time, it will become easier. By applying these principles, you can release that rope that binds you and regain control of your mental well-being. So the next time you feel stress taking over, ask yourself, what would Epictetus do in this situation? 6. Strengthen your resilience. Imagine life as a turbulent river. Some people sink when the waters get rough, while others manage to stay afloat and move forward. Resilience is that ability that allows us not only to endure, but also to keep going when everything seems to be against us. The good news is that we can all strengthen our resilience just as the Stoics did, by facing each challenge as an opportunity to grow. Resilience is the key to overcoming life's toughest moments. For the Stoics, being resilient didn't just mean enduring pain, it meant embracing those challenges as an inevitable part of fate. Every difficulty is an opportunity to grow and strengthen ourselves. The Stoics teach us to use our darkest moments to discover our true strength. When we face adversity with resilience, we transform pain into learning and obstacles into opportunities for progress. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. Resilience is precisely that ability to see obstacles not as breaks, but as the drive we need to move forward. If you feel like you're not resilient enough or that it's hard to get back up after each blow, don't worry. Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's a skill that we can all develop little by little. Psychologist Amy Morin demonstrates this in her book, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. You don't need to be invincible from the start. Morin advises that to become more resilient, we must trust in our abilities, surround ourselves with supportive people, and learn to adapt to changes. Each challenge you overcome makes you stronger, and over time, you'll see that obstacles no longer hold you back. They propel you forward. Imagine facing a crisis with a close family member. Perhaps you've had a heated argument with a parent or sibling, and the words exchanged have left a deep mark. The relationship, once close, is now tense and filled with resentment. The stress and emotional pain are evident, making you feel as if there's no turning back. Situations like these truly shake us, don't they? It's precisely in these moments that Stoic resilience comes into play. Instead of reacting with more anger or letting resentment grow, the Stoics encourage us to step back, breathe, and ask ourselves, what is under my control in this situation? While you may not be able to change what your family member said or did, you can control your reaction. You can choose reconciliation, offer an apology, or let go of the grudge. This approach not only strengthens the relationship, but also empowers you, as you choose to master your emotions rather than let them control you. How can you strengthen your resilience? First, accept that change is a part of life. The Stoics understood that life is unpredictable, and accepting uncertainty helps us adapt better. Face changes as opportunities for growth. Second, develop a support network. Surround yourself with people who motivate you to keep moving forward, even when everything seems to go wrong. Resilience is fortified when we know we're not alone. Third, maintain an optimistic yet realistic mindset. Don't ignore problems, but remember that each one has a solution. The key is to hold on to hope while actively working to resolve them. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to strengthen yourself, not to defeat you. By applying Stoic teachings, you will not only overcome life's toughest moments, but also learn to see obstacles as the springboard to your best self. Don't forget, within you lies a strength you may not even know exists, and every difficulty is an opportunity to discover it. 7. The power of patience. Patience holds a power that we often underestimate, especially during life's toughest moments. We expect things to happen quickly, that problems will be resolved immediately. But the reality is that in many cases, the significant changes and outcomes we desire take time. Patience allows us to accept that there is a time for everything, and that not everything is under our control. Sometimes the only thing we can do is trust the process and fate. Although we may not always understand it in the moment, patience will lead us where we need to be. For the Stoics, patience was the art of accepting what we cannot control and trusting that, in time, everything will fall into place. Seneca taught us to remain calm and avoid impulsive reactions when facing difficulties. How did he achieve this? Through patience. He teaches us that when problems arise, the best course of action is to breathe and wait calmly, allowing reason to take the reins. Applying this lesson in our daily lives can help us make better decisions and grow stronger with each challenge we face. If you were climbing a mountain, would you want to reach the top immediately? Or would you understand that it takes time? From the base, the summit may seem unreachable, and every step you take might feel insignificant. Yet it's precisely in that process where patience plays its most crucial role. Instead of getting frustrated for not being closer to your goal, focus on each step, each effort, knowing that every one of them brings you a bit closer to the top. Simon Sinek, author of Start With Why, insists that great achievements require time and patience. He often cites Nelson Mandela as an example of patience. During his 27 years in prison, Mandela not only cultivated patience, but also used it as a tool to maintain his clear vision. He knew that his fight for justice wouldn't be resolved quickly, but that didn't make him give up. Instead of rushing or becoming desperate, he stood firm, step by step, trusting that the right moment would come. Now, imagine this scenario. You lose your job and urgently need to find another one. In this desperate situation, you start sending your resume for every job offer you see, but the responses don't seem to come. It's a tough moment, isn't it? So, how can you develop patience in such a time? First, practice mindful breathing. When you feel impatience creeping in, take a pause and breathe deeply. Inhaling and exhaling slowly will help calm your mind and prevent impulsive reactions. Second, while you wait for those responses, use that time to develop new skills. What can you learn during this period that will help you be better prepared? Perhaps improving your English, learning a new technological tool, or enhancing your competencies. Sometimes moments of waiting offer us the opportunity to prepare for something even better. Who knows? It might lead you to a job better than you initially expected. Finally, break away from the idea of instant gratification. We know you want results now, but learning to wait and work calmly will give you immense strength. Ask yourself, what long-term benefit might I gain if I stop seeking immediate results and focus on building something lasting? Patience is one of the most powerful tools we can cultivate to overcome life's toughest moments. So, when you face challenges that seem unsolvable, remember this. Each moment of waiting is making you stronger, more resilient. With every step you take without rushing, you are building a firmer version of yourself, capable of facing any adversity. 8. Master your emotions. Let me share something personal. Some time ago, during a family gathering, a close relative started making negative comments about me. They said things that they knew bothered me, such as, "You always think you're better than everyone else," or, "You never have time for family, you only think of yourself." At first I tried to remain calm, but gradually frustration and anger built up. Before I knew it, I responded by raising my voice, creating an uncomfortable scene for everyone. I lost control. After reflecting on the incident, I realized that I had allowed someone else's words to control my emotions and actions. It was then that, through Stoicism, I understood the importance of staying calm even in the tensest moments. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What did I learn from this? I realized that, although I couldn't control what my relative said or did, I always had control over how I chose to respond. That was the true shift. Mastering my emotions helped me face the toughest moments with a clearer and more serene mindset, where before, I only saw chaos. Have you ever wondered why sometimes a small situation can make us emotionally explode, while at other times, we can remain calm? Psychologist Maya Ten Brink offers a clear perspective on this. She explains that our emotions aren't just automatic reactions. They actually go through 4 stages, and at each one, we have the opportunity to change our course. It all starts with the situation. Something happens that triggers an emotion in us. It could be a comment from a relative or a situation at work. Next, we move to focusing our attention. Here is where things get interesting. What do you concentrate on? What bothers you or how you can resolve it? This stage is crucial because if we choose poorly, our emotions can escalate. After that comes interpretation, how we perceive what has happened. Here we can give a new perspective to what we're feeling. Finally, we arrive at our reaction. By this point, we've gone through the previous stages and have the option to respond calmly or let our emotions dominate us. So, how can we master our emotions? The key, according to Ten Brink, is to pause at each stage and consciously choose how we want to move forward. First, recognize the situation. When you feel an intense emotion arising, stop and observe what's happening around you. Don't rush. Identifying the situation is key to understanding why you feel what you feel. Second, consciously focus your attention. Instead of concentrating on what bothers or frustrates you, consciously decide where you want to focus. Ask yourself, what's most important right now? Or what can I focus on to move forward and not get stuck in this emotion? Third, interpret what's happening from a new perspective. Changing how you interpret events can completely transform your emotional response. Instead of viewing adversity as an attack, see it as an opportunity to practice patience or calm. Finally, choose how to react. Here's the key. At each of these stages, you have the opportunity to pause and decide how to proceed. You can let your emotions take over, or you can choose to act from a place of serenity. The choice is always in your hands. Mastering our emotions is crucial for overcoming life's toughest moments. Now I ask you, in what situations have you allowed your emotions to dominate you? Share your experiences in the comments, and together we can learn to manage those moments better. 9. Choose your attitude. Life is like navigating a ship during a storm. The waves crash hard, and the storm seems endless. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose whether to sink into despair or keep the helm steady with the hope of moving forward. The difference lies not in what happens to you, but in how you choose to face it. You can let the storm overwhelm you, or you can use it as an opportunity to demonstrate your strength. It's in these moments that a mindset of resilience becomes your greatest ally. Attitude is the driving force that pushes us to move forward, even when things seem to be against us. By choosing a mindset of perseverance, we decide not to give in to difficulties. It's a daily decision, a choice that allows us to transform suffering into growth and chaos into an opportunity for learning. For the Stoics, true freedom lies in one choice: the attitude we decide to adopt in any situation. Marcus Aurelius reflected in his meditations that we can always decide how to interpret and react to events. So why let difficulties overpower us? If we choose to see each challenge as an opportunity for growth, don't we become stronger? This choice, to maintain a firm and positive attitude, enables us to overcome life's toughest moments with dignity and strength. What if, instead of resisting, we embraced each challenge with the right attitude? Nick Vujicic is a living example of how attitude changes everything. Imagine being born without arms or legs and facing the world under those conditions. How would you react? Many might give up, but Nick chose to adopt a mindset of perseverance from a young age. Instead of focusing on what he couldn't do, he concentrated on what he could achieve. He started with small things, learning to move, handling devices, and above all, cultivating a mindset of strength. Over time, he became a motivational speaker who has inspired millions with his message. Vujicic didn't just accept his physical limitations, he transformed them into a platform to demonstrate that attitude is everything. His motto, "It doesn't matter the circumstances, what matters is how you face them," reflects precisely how he has achieved what many deemed impossible. Today, he travels the world sharing his story, showing that a positive attitude can turn the darkest situations into opportunities for growth and empowerment. Nick chose not to give up, and that decision has made him a beacon of personal triumph. If you're wondering how to apply this in your life, here are some tips. First, focus on what you can control today. It's easy to get caught up in what we can't change or the limitations we face. But what truly makes a difference is channeling all your energy into the actions within your reach. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today to move forward? No matter how big or small, what matters is that you keep progressing. Second, practice gratitude, even in tough times. When you face a challenge, take a moment to reflect. What can I be grateful for in this situation? By shifting your focus to the positive, you strengthen your mindset and prepare yourself better to overcome obstacles. Like Nick, when you adopt a grateful attitude, you'll find it easier to discover solutions and remain steadfast, even when things get tough. Remember, the attitude you choose today will shape how you face the hardest moments of your life. It's not about changing what you can't control, but about deciding with what mindset you will confront the challenges ahead. Your attitude is your greatest ally. It can propel you forward or stop you dead in your tracks. So when faced with adversity, ask yourself, will I let this situation defeat me or will I choose to overcome it? The helm is in your hands, and with every decision you make, you are building your resilience and strength for the future. Now, my friend, let me tell you something. There's one last key that will not only help you overcome tough times, but can completely change how you face life. Are you ready to discover it? 10. Live with Amor Fati. We all face challenges and situations beyond our control. Sometimes, life seems filled with moments we wouldn't choose to experience. But what if, instead of resisting, we decided to embrace them with a total acceptance attitude? Living with Amor Fati means loving and accepting everything life presents, including difficulties. It's about viewing challenging experiences not as obstacles to endure, but as opportunities to grow, learn, and strengthen ourselves. But don't get it wrong. It doesn't mean giving up. On the contrary, the Stoics practice this concept to transform every challenge into an opportunity. Amor Fati invites us to free ourselves from resistance and to see that every situation, even the toughest ones, has a purpose in our journey. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. This teaches us to view fate not as something imposed, but as an essential part of our lives. Accepting fate is a powerful tool for overcoming life's toughest moments. We know what the Stoics told us. Although we can't control external events, we can choose how we interpret them. By adopting Amor Fati, we not only stop fighting against what happens to us, but also find a source of strength in every challenge. What if, instead of seeing difficulties as failures, you viewed them as an essential part of your story? This liberates you from complaints and allows you to act from a place of calm and acceptance. Author Oliver Burkeman, in The Antidote. Happiness for People Who Can't Stand Positive Thinking offers a refreshing perspective on Amor Fati. Instead of avoiding pain or chasing relentless success, he invites us to accept all experiences, both good and bad. Berkman explains how many people, in trying to avoid failure, end up trapped in stress and anxiety. What should we do instead? He suggests embracing those uncomfortable experiences. This approach liberates us and allows us to find deeper peace, accepting that failure is an essential part of the growth process. Imagine this scenario. You're at the peak of your career, striving every day to achieve the success you've always dreamed of. However, in the process, you begin to miss important moments with your family, and stress has become part of your daily life. You try to control every little detail at work, seeking perfection in everything. Yet that constant struggle to have everything under control wears you down. What if, instead of resisting, you chose to accept those difficulties as part of your journey, learning to live with what you cannot change? How can you start living with Amor Fati? First, create a wall of acceptance in your personal space, where you place images and phrases that represent the experiences you've lived and decided to accept. This will serve as a visual reminder that every part of your story has value. Second, perform a farewell ritual whenever you face a significant change. Take a moment to reflect on what you're leaving behind and what you're carrying with you. Third, choose a mantra of Amor Fati to repeat during difficult moments, such as, "Everything that comes is what I need." This will help reprogram your mind to accept reality. Fourth, engage in activities that challenge your comfort zone. By experiencing new things, you'll learn to accept the unexpected and find joy in the unknown. Finally, practice meditation on fate. Sit in silence and reflect on what has happened in your life, accepting each event as part of your personal journey. Adopting Amor Fati will change your perspective on life. It's no longer about avoiding problems, but about accepting them as a necessary part of your growth. When you embrace this philosophy, difficult moments are no longer barriers. They become steps on your path toward a fuller and more resilient life. I invite you to embrace every experience in your life. Each moment, whether positive or negative, is an opportunity to learn and grow. May the difficulties you face become occasions for reflection and a chance to discover your inner strength. Remember, what happens to you does not define who you are, but how you choose to react to it does. By adopting this mindset, you'll find that each challenge empowers you and prepares you for a fuller, more meaningful life. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I embrace every experience." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.